Hello everyone, today I bring you round 4 of Torneio Internacional de Famalicão. And yeah, this round I got paired up against the lower rated player again. And yeah, my opponent was 14 rated, 1400 rated. And yeah, looking into his games, I found his account very randomly. I found his Lichess account and I saw a an opening that he played against d4, and I couldn't resist to try to just out prepare my opponent and just crush him in the opening. So I started the game with the white pieces, and I started with c4, and this goes against the plan that I had going into these tournaments. As I said in previous videos, I wanted to just play knight f3, g3, bishop g2, castle setups, and just go from there. But in this specific case, I decided to start with c4. My opponent went e6, and after g3, my opponent went f5. And yeah, he plays this sort of Dutch setup, and you know, I had something really nasty prepared for him, very challenging against the Dutch. So let's see how I faced this rather uncommon and dubious opening. So I went bishop g2, doing sort of a Catalan setup. He went knight f6, and here I went knight f3. He played d5. I just castled, and my opponent developed the bishop to d6. And here, you know, uh, the I'm gonna show you the detail that makes this line kind of dangerous for black and harder to play. Here I took on d5, he took back with e pawn, and then I played d3. And this is a very nice way to play against the Dutch, because one of the problems that white might face against the Dutch is that normally the pawn is on d4, and black has access to this e4 square, and with the pawn on f5, pawn on d5 supporting this knight, it's gonna be hard to kick this knight away. If you play something like knight bd2, I mean, you can take, but then he takes back with the f pawn, opens the f file for his rook, and things are a little bit dangerous. And if you want to kick this knight other way, you have to play like knight e1, f3, and that blocks this bishop and also takes a lot of time. So by playing the English move order against the Dutch, now you don't have your pawn on d4 like you would have in a normal d4 opening in a normal Dutch. Now you play d3, and now this knight can't use this e4 square, so it kind of loses a bit of his fun. The Dutch kind of becomes very dull and very just ridiculous without being able to plant a knight on e4. So my opponent went castle, went knight c3, and here my opponent played c6, and now I hit him with a move that looks ridiculous, but actually is the best move in this position. And yeah, computer already says that I'm winning with like a plus 1.9 advantage, which is crazy. And here I had all this prepared. I was basically moving instantly, and here I hit him with the e4, and e4 looks like it's just losing a pawn, but you're not losing a pawn, you're actually just completely destroying black's center. And with better development, better king safety, you're just gonna smash through. And here my opponent thought for a long while, and he ended up taking on e4. I took back, and here he played queen c7, which is very bad, but the alternatives weren't that appealing as well. The point here is that if you take twice on e4 like this, now I have knight g5, and there's no way to defend this pawn, and all your center is completely crumbled, and my pieces are super active. Queen can come to b3, rook to d1, the bishop can develop to e3, the knight is well placed on g5, you know, looking at the f7 square, looking at e6. You know, it's just really hard. Like, black is already like in huge trouble. But okay, going back to what happened in the game, my opponent went queen c7, and here, you know, I think I went a little bit wrong. Computer says that I should just play slowly with rook e1 and just improve my position, but I played queen b3 check, because after king h8, pawn takes on f5, bishop takes on f5, and now I liked knight d4, attacking the bishop with tempo. The bishop needs to move. My opponent went bishop d7, which makes sense, and now I developed my bishop to g5. So this was the point of my variation. I managed to gain a tempo on his bishop, and then I managed to develop the last piece, the last minor piece, with bishop g5. Here my opponent actually makes a losing mistake. This is really bad. h6 is not a good move. It just fails to bishop takes on f6 simply. And after rook takes on f6, yeah, I just have knight e4, and I'm gaining the bishop pair back. I'm attacking the rook with tempo. My pieces are super active. The rooks are coming fast to the d and e files, and I mean, look at these pieces from black. They are still on the back rank. This knight can't really develop to c6, can't develop to d7, probably has to develop to a6, which is just sad. This rook is just sad. This king is very weak. So yeah, I mean, here I was feeling great. I had a lot of time on the clock. My opponent already had spent more than 40 minutes, I think, on all these moves. So yeah, I was feeling pretty good, feeling very confident, feeling like this was just gonna be an easy walk in the park, you know, just a easy game. Here my opponent, after thinking for a while, played rook g6, and here I thought, I think queen f7 is winning. I thought to myself, like, just looks like I'm gonna win, because the king will have to protect the rook, and then I can take on d6, maybe play bishop e4. But I wasn't 100, like, I thought for some time about it, but then I was like, I don't know, I don't want to calculate. I'll just play rook ac1, and I'm still winning probably, and this is like a safer move. I don't have to calculate, like, I will not play queen f7. And then I stood up from the board. I went, I walked around, I saw all the games from all the boards, you know, and I came back to my seat. My opponent was still thinking, and I was like, okay, let me calculate if queen f7 was winning. And this is so embarrassing for me. I was sitting there, and I easily calculated that queen f7 was completely winning, and in fact it was. And I was like, oh my god, I can't believe I just missed an easy win. I could already be signing the score sheet and going home. Like, what the hell? After rook g6, I have queen f7, and now I'm attacking the rook. The rook has to be protected by the king. There's no other move. The king h7 here, and now I have this knight takes on d6, and this is very important because now, okay, if my opponent captures with the queen, the whole point of this variation was to play bishop e4. Let me make sure I turn on the engine to not be wrong, but here of course you see that it's the rook is pinned. Now best move is queen f6, and I can even just trade and take the exchange, and here this is just completely winning. Up an exchange, uh, way more active, and yeah, there's not much to be said. And if my opponent took with with the rook here, I would have bishop e4, and this is gonna be mate, you know. If king goes to the back rank, I have queen f8 checkmate, and yeah, otherwise it's just gonna be checkmate in a few moves. So yeah, very unfortunate that I was just a dickhead. Honestly, this was completely cockiness by my part, and I just didn't even want to calculate. But because my opponent was taking so long, I ended up calculating. So what am I doing with my life? Like, this is a serious tournament. Like, I don't know. When I'm playing against stronger players, I start doubting myself. I start you know, overthinking. And when I'm playing against weaker players, I am completely cocky, and I don't even take the game serious enough, and I end up in trouble. So like, my mentality is all fucked for chess competition. Honestly, like, it's completely wrong. But okay, let's go back into the game. I had to show you guys this. So yeah, rook ac1, fortunately, is it's still winning, but it's not as easy as queen f7 was. Now here my opponent, after thinking for a while, found queen b6, which is still losing for black. And yeah, I was a bit frustrated for sure. Let me turn off the engine. I was very frustrated because you know, uh I missed a win because I was stupid. And now I was not sure if there was a win. I couldn't find a a straight up win because after what happened in the game, I ended up playing queen f7 again, trying to go back to the variation that was working a move ago. And after king h7 here, yeah, I was trying to figure out the win. There's a win here, but yeah, I just couldn't see the win. I thought for a long while here, probably like 20 minutes or something like that, but I mean, there was nothing that won on the spot, in my opinion. Like, I ended up taking on d6 with the knight, but now my opponent has queen takes on d6 here, and yeah, I wasn't so sure about this because I thought, okay, if I play bishop e4 now, my opponent probably simply has queen takes on d6, and after something like bishop takes on g6, my opponent can take with the queen, and we trade queens, and this position doesn't look winning at all. Actually, probably black is a bit better. So yeah, I didn't like that variation at all. Um, and yeah, apart from that, I couldn't see anything else because I thought that if I played something like rook d1, for example, my opponent would have queen f6 here, and yeah, I thought that I had nothing. You know, my opponent is threatening to trade queens, and yeah, but apparently here this is completely winning because I totally missed that I can just play simple bishop e4. I don't need to worry about the queen because the knight is guarding the queen and the rook is guarding the knight, so black is completely paralyzed. Engine gives -9, not -9, +9 for white, and yeah, I totally missed this resource of bishop e4. And yeah, so I ended up missing another win. This was really bad for me, playing knight takes on b7, which yeah, wins a pawn, but you know, it's not as good as winning the game on the spot, right? But okay, I still had to keep playing. I was frustrated, but you know, game is not over. I'm probably still better, and I need to stay focused because you know, I don't want to mess up again. Like, if I lose this game, I would be very, very, very mad at myself. Okay, queen, okay, knight takes on b7. Here my opponent played rook f6. I played queen e7. He attacked my queen again with rook e6. I played queen a3, kind of ugly move to make, but okay, I had to move my queen away from the rook attacks. Here my opponent played the rook e2, which is nice, putting pressure on the b2 pawn, and you can see that the initiative already changed completely. And yeah, this is all it takes. I mean, you miss a few crucial moves and all of a sudden, like, your opponent is back in the game. Here I played b3 to protect b2, and my opponent played queen b2. And here the computer, it's amazing, still gives a +8 advantage. I did play the best move, bishop e4 check. My opponent can't take the bishop because the queen would be hanging. But after king g8 here, the computer says that the best move is queen e7, and this move looks very risky. But just simply took on b2, he took back with the rook, and here I played rook c2, which was incorrect according to the engines. Engines wanted me to play knight c5, and here if my opponent took on a2, I would take on d7, takes back, and I would have this fork at the end, which I totally missed again. But yeah, after knight c5, my opponent could play also bishop h3, and after rook d1, he could actually maybe play this way, taking the pawn on a2, but then again I would have check, king f7, and here I could simply just chill because this rook is trapped, this knight is stuck. So yeah, I was in panic mode, honestly, and yeah, I just decided to play rook c2 because that's pretty much the only way to save the pawn. He took on c2, I took back with the bishop, and he played knight a6. And here, you know, you can imagine the engine still gives +4 to me, which I thought at this point I was slightly better only, because all of a sudden his pieces are coming to life, and the king is no longer in danger. Like, the king can actually get to the center and to the game way faster, so now it's probably a strength that he doesn't have the f-pawn and stuff like that. But yeah, I was frustrated, but I was like, okay, just focus. I mean, just try to outplay him, and don't give him too much counterplay. That was my thing. Bishop d3, knight b4, and here I gave a check on c4. My opponent went king f8, and I played a4. Here my opponent went knight d5. I went king g2, not allowing him to kind of trap my king with bishop h3. I was kind of worried of early bishop h3, for example. I would say after, I mean, yeah, after something like a4, maybe bishop h3 here. Yeah, I was kind of afraid of playing bishop h3 here, because all of a sudden my king will have a hard time coming into the game. Okay, the bishop isn't doing much on h3, but I'll have to play something like f4 or f3, and it might be risky in some cases with this knight here close to my pieces. But okay, my opponent went knight d5, king g2, knight b6, attacking my bishop on c4, bishop e2 back, bishop e6, attacking the pawn on b3, knight c5, defending and attacking the bishop. Nice move. And here my opponent gave a check on d5. I blocked with a bishop, allowed another trade of pieces, but my opponent didn't take on f3. He played rook e8 instead, and now I kicked his knight with a5. He took on f3 now, took back with the king, played knight d5. And here this position, it's kind of funny that, like, the engine since like almost move 3 was always giving me like a winning advantage, which is crazy. It gives +3 here. It's kind of hard to believe for me. At least I don't understand how can it be so winning when I'm just up one pawn on the king side. And okay, maybe my knight is better placed than his knight. Maybe my king is more active, but he has the e-file, so I mean, it's +3, that's so much. But okay, I mean, at this point in the game, my opponent was running low on the clock. I still had some time, thanks to the way I played the opening super fast. I had a lot of time to try to, you know, create a winning position here for me, or at least a clearly winning position to my chess understanding here. Here I played rook c1, played king e7, trying to bring the king into the queen side, but here, you know, I managed to just, uh, you know, get a way better position with just rook e1 check, king f7, and taking the rooks. I feel like eliminating the rooks was a very huge win for me, because now, I mean, my king can just step into the center of the board, and yeah, I mean, this now here I was like, okay, this has to be winning. When he allowed me to trade rooks, I knew that this had to be winning, because just look at my king. My king is on e5, his king is on e7, my knight is super well placed on c5. I mean, his knight is well placed on d5 as well, but I mean, with the majority on the king side, the ability to probably create a passed pawn, and yeah, I mean, just I think the most important thing is really the king activity. I mean, my king is just a monster on e5, while his king is very passive on e7. So okay, but I still had to, you know, prove the advantage with good moves and a good endgame technique. Here I played knight e6. I thought it was a nice move, you know. Uh, Maybe going knight f4, maybe going to d4 with the knight to attack c6. But yeah, this move knight e6 wasn't that good. He just played knight b4, which I went back to c5. He went back to d5, and here he offered me a draw, and I almost started laughing, because of course I'm not gonna take a draw, and I immediately said no, and I played knight e6. Yeah, this kind of shocked him, and yeah, it was very important for me to make this move quick and to like assertively say no, like no, you don't get a draw against me so easily. So yeah, knight a6 here. My opponent played knight f6, I played f3, just you know, blocking any ideas of black. Knight d5 back, h4, starting to push the majority, h5, trying to slow down my pawn storm. Here I play knight b8, attacking c6. He plays knight b4, defending c6. I play king f4, so he plays king f6. But now, okay, this allows me to bring my knight back into the game, which, okay, maybe king f4 was a nice bait and switch, you know. Knight e7 check, king e7, knight c5, and after king f6, probably hoping for a repetition. Here I played king e4, you know, king e7, and here I found a nice idea, which I was constantly missing, which was just to offer a knight trade, because if my opponent trades the knights, I'm completely winning. The king and pawn endgame is just winning, you know, basic. So here he can't really allow me to trade, so he has to waste the time moving the knight back, and now I get a fork with knight e5, and this is GG's. I mean, 2 pawns is gonna be too much. I'm attacking c6, I'm attacking g6, there's no way to defend both, and here my opponent was already super frustrated. I mean, he knew he was gonna lose, so it's just a matter of time. So yeah, knight b4, knight takes on g6 check, and the rest is just you know, just super easy. I mean, he didn't resign. I don't know what he was doing. He was just sacrificing all the pieces. It almost looked like he was playing bullet or something like that. But okay, I probably have done the same in some games for sure. You can guys check it out on the playlist of the Journey to National Master. I probably also played out some of these losing positions. But yeah, here after I promote to a queen, he resigned, and I managed to get the win. And yeah, it wasn't easy at all. I was too cocky in the beginning, and yeah, I almost screwed myself because I was so arrogant. So yeah, lesson learned. I mean, bro, just take the game serious, all of them. Just calculate and don't just miss chances because you don't want to calculate. That's the most lazy and stupid thing I've ever done in chess games, is to just be lazy. Like, bro, you're paying to be in the tournament. You prepare so much for the tournament. Just take it serious, bro. Come on, man. It doesn't matter if you're playing against 1,000 or against Magnus Carlsen. Just, try to play your best chess. And yeah, try to prove what you've been working on and stuff like that. Don't just like you know play like a dumbass. Like, come on, man. But yeah, lesson learned, and for sure in the next tournaments I will take it more seriously, even against the lower rated opposition. Which, let's be honest, is not even that much lower rated than me. It's like only 200 points. Like, my mindset is just fucked. But okay, this was the game. Enough talking, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. See you next time. Bye bye.